Welcome to the Dutch and Denver podcast. Today, I don't even know where to begin. Um, Hopefully y'all caught last couple days. Kyle and I got together and got pretty drunk for a couple hours and just went off, and it was very entertaining. At least I thought it was. Kyle thought it was pretty funny. I hope you guys listen to it because it's funny, and there's some really good points, despite the alcohol-induced yelling and swearing, and there's some funny stories. But this episode, let's see. Again, I don't even know where to start. We've got Dictator Biden and all of his executive orders. I found a new TV channel that is full of dumb shit. Jeopardy's for pussies now. Commercials, that kind of goes with the Jeopardy thing. Kyle and I are actually expert predictors. We'll talk about GameStop and what happened there. We'll probably do that first. And then just some off the wall stuff. So, the GameStop thing has really been I don't know, it's been an interesting story. I don't know how much everybody knows about it, but I'll quickly explain what happened. GameStop had like a short squeeze on its stock, or with a Reddit group against a hedge fund. And, well, here, let me start at the beginning. So, a bunch of guys on Reddit figured out that GameStop stock was short sold or short squeezed, whatever you want to talk about, through a particular hedge fund. And what a short is this hedge fund, we'll just say it's, hedge fund A. What they did is they borrowed a bunch of stock. Well, yeah, again, this is not technical, this is the simplest way to explain it. So they borrowed a bunch of GameStop stock at, let's say, $1. Okay, and they borrowed it from their broker or whoever at $1. And then what they're going to do is they're going to wait until it either drops, which in theory, it'll drop to, let's say, a penny. And these are drastic numbers, but this is just how it works. So we borrowed a bunch of this at $1, and it's now dropped to a penny. And we're going to buy back the amount we borrowed. So if we borrowed 100 stock at $1, that's $100. Now it's dropped to a penny. We're gonna buy 100 shares at a penny, and then it's only gonna cost us $1. So now we've netted $99, and we're going to pay back our loan with the 100 that we bought at a penny. So in theory, we netted $99. Now the problem in there lies that if somebody like the Reddit crew figures out that there's a huge portion of this stock that's been shorted, what they're going to do is they're going to start buying a whole bunch of it, and that's going to make the price go up. So now instead of it being $1 a share, it's $2. So now when we buy back the 100 shares that we shorted, we're now in for $200. So in theory, we've lost $200 when we pay ours back, and we're kind of screwed. There's nothing wrong with anything anybody did. The hedge fund guys, it's in the law. They're able to do it. The Reddit guys did nothing wrong. A lot of people got rich because some of these guys bought in, at $2. And then a whole bunch of other people joined in, and then it shot up to $4. So the guys who bought in at $2 or $1.50 made a shitload. The problem is the guys that bought in at $4, when it dropped back down to $1, and it got closed and then stabilized and bought. It's kind of complicated, but it's not really. And there was a lot of people that joined the game that didn't belong in the game, so they might have gotten screwed. Did the hedge fund guys get screwed? probably not that much. So they lost $1 billion. I don't know, man. In a $100 billion portfolio, that's not a much. That's not much. Some people in the Reddit group made a whole bunch of money. Yeah, some people got screwed. I think where the problem lies and where people are most angry is that Robinhood, I don't know, some app stepped in, and I guess this is an app that you can trade stocks for free on. They stepped in and halted purchasing this stock for like novelty investors, everyday guys like you and me. But the hedge fund guys were still allowed to purchase it. Okay. I'm not sure the stock exchange stepped in and did that. I think it was just your free app you were using, so I wouldn't be so mad at the government as much as the free app you were using. Because had you a stockbroker who, charges you a commission, that's kind of how these guys make money, I don't think your trading would have been halted. I haven't done a lot of research on this because I think it's just ridiculous. And nothing's changed. Like, I guess the peons are starting to fight back a little bit maybe, but not much was accomplished. Yeah, you might have irritated some people. You gave an app a bad name, or you put some holes in the system, but nothing's changed. The hedge fund guys are still richer than you and I, and unless you got it on the bottom of this Reddit thing, you're still poor or mediocre or, semi-rich or whatever you want to call it. But nothing really came of this with any significance. The most significance I probably take away for it is everybody was super mad that, quote, the government stepped in and halted the sale of these guys on the short to save the hedge fund. Yes and no, but the bigger picture is everybody's mad about this when the government's protecting hedge fund people and, they know best, except when it comes to this. Because for the past 9 months, the government has stepped in and said, well, you don't know any better, so we're going to save you from yourself and lock the whole country down. And most of y'all were like, oh, okay, yeah, no problem there. CNN or somebody said, oh, let's, 2 masks are better than 1, and most of y'all are like, yeah, okay, fine, super. I'll wear 2 masks, fuck, I'll wear 7. We talked about this last podcast with Kyle and I when we got kind of hammered. Wear 9 condoms, 9 masks, who fuck cares, wear 7 seatbelts. When the government steps in there, oh no, it's okay if it just saves 1 life. But when they step into the stock market or, some Reddit ploy, everybody's up in arms. It doesn't make sense. You can't have it both ways. You either let it go or you don't. And you can't let it go because we'll have crashes and, it's not perfect. It's meant for people who know what they're doing. And yeah, if you don't know what you're doing, you can upset the apple cart for a day or two. But in the long run, you're not equipped to win this battle. It was a good try. It wasn't a big enough impact. Clearly nothing happened. This happened a couple days ago, and as far as I know, everything's back to normal. Everything's fine. Some people are still grumpy, but who cares? I don't think this was the way to go about it. It was, again, it's an interesting idea. I don't know, this just probably wasn't the way to go about it. And it definitely wasn't the way to, stick it to the man. Because the man is still on top, and government and Wall Street are still together. My theory on this is if you can't beat them, join them. I mean, start, invest in one of those hedge funds. Do something to protect your future. Be a responsible adult. Because, these hedge funds some of them are short sells, or not short sells, but, like day traders, stuff like that. But most of these are in it for the long haul. So, yeah, you mess with 1 or 2 stocks for 1 or 2 days. But, over a 30-year period, nobody's going to remember this. That was nonsense. So, if you're going to invest, I I advise you to have a broker or someone you trust, or do your own research and go from there. But this attempt, I think, fell a little bit short and got more news than it should have. Why it got so much news, I don't know. Maybe we were trying to distract people from what else was going on. Maybe distract us from King Biden and his executive orders. Uh, the guy's been in office for, what's today's date? The 29th, so he's been in office for 9 days with, how many actual, like, working days? I don't know, it doesn't matter. Probably a whole week, actually, 7 days. 7 working days, knock that weekend out of there. And he's come up with, I don't know what the final total is as of today. It's probably like 159 million executive orders. But we touched on this on the last episode, but a lot of it was some drunken rambling. Still good points, just not very salient maybe. But you gotta understand, you cannot legislate through the executive office. And again, I've mentioned this, but just to reiterate, the legislature makes legislation. The legislature makes the laws. The executive branch carries those laws out. Subverting the legislator with executive orders, the legislative branch with executive orders, that's what a dictator does. I mean, if everybody, was on Trump, oh, he's a dictator, his first week, I don't know, he had like 5. Maybe not even. Bush had 0, but nobody accused him of it. Biden's got a whole bunch of them. And what's odd to me is why he's doing this when you guys, the Democrats are running the show right now. They have all 3 branches. Not the judicial, but, the House, the Senate, and the executive. So why would they not just pass legislation? It's a lot harder to undo legislation than it is undo an executive order. That's kind of like what Biden's doing, is just trying to undo some of Trump's stuff. And that's what a lot of people are saying. Oh, he's just trying to get rid of Trump's evil, horrible ways. Yes and no, because a lot of I've got like this 15 on the first day, and very few of them were undoing Trump's stuff. A lot of them are implementing his own agenda, or, I mean, frankly, Biden's a little puppet that is being controlled by the powers that be. So it's what his side's agenda is. The radical left, the moderate left. I'm not sure there's even moderate left. But this is not the way to get things done in this country, is to just executive order your way to whatever the hell you want to get done. You got to go through legislature. You got to make laws, things like that. And the laws stick on the books far longer than EO does. The people on Twitter were fighting over this week, and let's see. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, I'm not. So on Twitter this week, they were going on about the executive orders, and a couple people have spoken up and saying, hey, this is just, like I said, undoing what Trump did. And this isn't out of the ordinary, because every president writes more executive orders than his predecessor, because he gets rid of his predecessors plus his own. That's just not true. FDR, I don't know, back in the 40s, 50s, one of them had like 3,000 executive orders. Nobody else has had that many. Bush had more than, or less than Clinton. Trump had less than Obama. It's not. That's not. We're not undoing things via executive order. That's just a dumb thing to say on Twitter. And we're gonna add that at the end. We're gonna say, I'm gonna read stupid tweets. I'll figure out how to put them on the video later. But I'm gonna read stupid tweets to you. I don't know if I'll say the name. We'll just laugh at dumb people for a little bit at the end to make it fun. But executive order is not the way to do things. Just, you're the executive branch, enforce the laws that are made with the judicial, but it's more like execute as not enforce. I mean, for instance, the Keystone Pipeline thing, that's a horrible idea. And Plugs comes out and says, well, just get another job making solar panels or whatever. No, solar panels is a dying industry. It's a dead industry. It was never alive. It's just been subsidized by the government for so long. You can't take jobs away and say, well, just get another one. I mean, you can, because that's what he's done. But you're going to have a lot of pissed off people about that. And you surely can't. One of the arguments, and I think it was John Kerry was saying, hey, we want to give these guys better choices. Well, why take away this choice? I don't understand that. Why are we taking away this choice for a job? A lot of these guys are making great, guys and girls, we're making great money on this Keystone Pipeline thing. And bye-bye, but go make solar panels. No, that's not a viable option. Let's see. More climate stuff. Rejoining Paris. That's dumb, pointless, expensive. But, it fits the narrative. It's what his group wants. It's what the wackos on his side want. So, it was good for them. I thought about this the other day, and point out if I'm wrong or where the logic is flawed. But you know how when you freeze like a water bottle, it expands? Sometimes like the pop tops off, or the top pops off and makes a mess, and then you have shit or beer or pop or whatever in your freezer. So, how are the polar ice caps going to raise sea levels? I don't understand that, because if ice displaces more water, if water displaces more water in its ice form than it does in liquid form, how would it be turning it to liquid, displace more water and make the oceans rise? If you have a gallon of water and you throw in a bunch of ice cubes and it starts spilling over the top of your container, when the ice melts, it actually, the water level drops. Same thing with your water bottle. When you freeze it, it like pops up. And then when you unfreeze it, it goes back to normal. So, I mean, if anything, I would think that the sea level would shrink if the ice caps melted or giant icebergs melted. Because let's face facts, the ice caps, like the North fucking Pole and the South fucking Pole, are not actually going to melt all the way. We might have some icebergs and stuff melt, but I would think that if an ice cube in the ocean melts, it displaces less water, so it's, not filling up the ocean. If someone knows, if you can explain that to me, I'd be super happy to learn that. But I think it's just all kind of like a little bit made up, and Blip and I talked about this, that climate change is one thing, man-made climate change is another. I think it's a little pretentious to think that we're changing the climate. This is the Ice Age discussion. If you didn't catch this, go listen to the other podcast. It's much more entertaining. But it's silly to rejoin the Paris thing. Let's see, what else did Biden come up with on his first executive orders and stuff? Oh, the extending the eviction and foreclosure freeze. Again, I know your heart is in the right place, but your brain and your head is up your own ass. If you think that that's a good idea, it's not. Because, believe it or not, and again, other podcasts, just more, being a landlord is a job. I'm sorry. You had to invest money in something and you need to pay back the loan. Or you spent your money and you need to refill your coffers. you can't just, it's like the student loan debt. Oh, if they forgive that, I'm going to be pissed. Some of us either paid for college outright, we had great parents who did it, or we took out student loans and we paid them back. Some of us haven't paid them back entirely, but we're still on top of things. And for the government to come in and just say, hey, all student debt, fuck that. If, I did what I was supposed to and I borrowed money and I agreed to pay it back and I paid it back, and then all the people that agreed to pay it back that didn't are just forgiven, fuck you. That is not the way that this works. Think about that. If I promise to my mortgage company I'm going to pay my house off in 15 years, and I do that, and I own my house, and my neighbor Jim, who's a moron, spent way too much on a house he couldn't afford, and now he's fucked, and the government steps in and says, oh, we're just going to give you that house. You don't have to pay for it anymore. Well, I'm screwed, too, because I had to pay and waste my money on my mortgage. It's not a waste, but you know what I mean. And now the bank is out their money that they had to loan that guy to get his house. So now that's going to negatively affect everything else. Because if the bank keeps having all these, and this is going to go back to that housing crisis, oh shit, but if they have all these toxic loans, which that's what it will be when you just return money to people who don't deserve it, or start forgiving debts, the banks are going to go under, and then they get another bailout, and there's just more money. Vicious fucking cycle. But don't worry. Uncle Sam will take care of you. It's the same way with the colleges. You think if these colleges aren't getting... Now, they probably already have their money, because I think the government gives them their money, and then they just hold your loan. But if you went through a bank or a credit card, something like that, did you get your loans? Those people are fucked now. On the other side of the coin, back to the colleges, they'll just raise tuition. Because, let's say your tuition is worth $10 everybody. Well, if they know that 50% of the people aren't going to be able to pay their tuition, or the government's just going to forgive it, they'll just raise tuition. So now it'll be $20 a person. Now they'll be able to scratch their costs haven't increased, but they'll be able to blow off the 50% that the government's going to forgive and pay for, and they're just going to charge the responsible people double. They'll still get their pound of flesh. It's just they're going to get it 2 pounds from one guy, and nobody's going to have to pay anything. This is bullshit. If you borrow money and you agree to pay it back, pay it fuck back. If you agree to do anything, just do it. I'm so sick of everybody looking to the government to help you out when you make a poor decision. I've made tons of poor decisions. Fuck me if I made some bad decisions. But, I didn't call up Trumpy or Bush or any of them. Like, hey, man, I did some dumb crap. Can you bail me out? Fuck no. You deal with it like an adult and you move on. Let's see. What else did he do? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, the 1776 Commission in Education. We're going to go with the 1612 Project. If you guys don't know what this is, Trump signed an order that we're going to teach American history as he sees it and how I see it. Biden says, no, we're not. We're probably going to go to the 1620 Project where, it's America's evil and you should be ashamed of it. Let's see what else. The Muslim ban. It wasn't an actual Muslim ban. Get over that. Oh, speaking of that, and I'm pretty sure Biden is restricting travel from South America. So, when Trump does it, he's a horrible racist and fucking hates people. But when Biden does it, if it saves just one life... let's see. The civil immigration enforcement policies. I think what that is that ICE just has to be nicer to illegal aliens when they enforce the laws. So what that's actually going to come to is don't enforce the laws at all. In the border wall construction, yeah, it's fucking great. But hey, let's build a wall around the Capitol, a permanent one. because, we need to protect ourselves from the peons. We wouldn't want these people breaching us again. We can get into that later. Something about prohibiting workplace discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. I'm pretty sure that's already a law. If I'm wrong, maybe, but I don't think I am. I think those are already a law. You can't, discriminate against gay people or trans or... Oh, and that'll remind me, when we get to our stupid tweet, I have one in mind. I'd probably be able to find a couple others, but the one today is just great. Let's see. He's going to make his cabinet appointees or whatever sign a stupid thing that's about public trust or ethics. I don't know. It's a bunch of fluff garbage with this unity stuff that they're ramming down your throat while they're stabbing you in the back, front, left, right, and center. I don't know. It's not a great look, but then again, 99% of the world, not 99%, but half the country gets their news from CNN, PSNBC, those guys, and the other half gets theirs from Fox and Newsmax. And so this was a big thing I wanted to cover, that the unity talk it's fucking pointless. And I'll tell you why. We've become so divided in, I'll use left and right, liberal and conservative, whatever. You know what I mean. The left and the right, we are so staunchly divided for a couple of reasons. It's always been, we have a fundamental difference in beliefs. It's kind of like religion, Christians and the Jews. They don't agree because they have a fundamental difference in beliefs. There's no compromising that. The Jews and Christians don't get together and be like, oh, well, maybe we can compromise on a couple things. No, there's a fundamental difference in beliefs. One likes red, the other likes green. There's no change in it. And that has been the difference between the left and the right, is there's a fundamental difference in beliefs. Fiscal responsibility and small government has kind of been the right side. Huge government and spend like drunken sailors has kind of been the left. And those are fundamental things that you can't really get over. Now, you can compromise, but that's compromising your principles, and I don't advise that. I think that you should stand for your principles, and if you want to be fiscally conservative or you want to spend like a drunken sailor, do it. If you meet in the middle, you might come up with some good, but you're going to sacrifice some bad. And we can talk about that later. That's the whole party trumps person thing. Because it's not only those, conservative, fiscally, and non-conservative, but there's a whole other thing that comes with that agenda for the left and the right. That, you can't compromise on some of this thing. Pro-life, there's no compromise on that. You're either pro-life or you're pro-choice. And you can't... No, there is no compromising. And it just so happens that pro-life is on the right side and pro-choice is on the left. So if you're going to vote for pro-choice, you got to vote for the party, not the person. Because, yeah, you will get fiscally conservative stuff and, small government and... harsh, horrible right-wingers who just hate everybody and want everybody to die in poverty and starve except for babies. But, if that's your line in the sand, then you need to vote on that side. And if your line in the sand is you're pro-choice, then, yeah, you're going to get the left's agenda. So, compromise, yes and no. I think in politics, no, you need to crush them. Stand up for your side and compromise on some things. I mean, not everything, but your principal core values do not compromise on. That's that's what makes you weak. And like I said, the left is just belittle people into, if you don't agree with us, you're a racist, a bigot, a white, blah, 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 blah. It just on and on and on. And there's no unity with that. So it's not, it's compliance. It's not unity. They should rename it compliance. Agree with us or we'll cancel you. So, what my original point is, there's a fundamental difference in beliefs. The second point is, and this is, it shocks me, but it's 100% true. As the left and right is separated, the left gets their set of facts from a completely different source than the right. And these facts are completely different. And I talked to some of my friends on the left, and they're like, well, it's like, wait, what? Where did you hear this? They coming up to me and be like, hey, there was a herd of unicorns spotted in Anwar. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, there's unicorns in Anwar, and that's why we can't drill there. Because we don't want to kill the unicorns. Are you fucking kidding me? Where did you... Oh, CNN. Oh, okay. So that is... I mean, we have two entirely different sets of facts that we're dealing with. And most of us are far too stubborn to engage the other side because the rhetoric and the hatred and the vitriol have just been, if you don't agree with me, fuck you, man. So, I mean, I would never watch CNN. I do try to maybe not watch it, but kind of follow it on social media and just see what the other side is saying. But, I mean, a lot of it has just become so crazy, and so many people are so entrenched that no matter what, they believe it. I mean, for instance, the masks thing. Start wearing 2 masks. So does that mean one didn't work? Because at first it was don't wear a mask, and now it was you gotta wear a mask everywhere. Now it's wear 2 masks or 3. So for 8 fucking months, one didn't work? I don't know. That's the whole point of all this, is that it's so insanely crazy that, I mean, I don't even know. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to heal any of this from. I don't know how to fix this. I don't think we can fix it. Honestly, where we start is a tough place. But that was the main point, is that fundamentally and now so drastically, our facts, our beliefs, everything is completely separate. And there's no middle ground anymore. It's just extremely one way or the other. You're extremely wrong, I'm extremely right, and vice versa. And then you have the national media, and Fox News and Newsmax, they're also guilty of this, I just think to a lesser extent. They report their side only instead of the facts. Your facts aren't feelings. And feelings aren't facts. So, did this happen? Yes or no? That's a fact. Okay? How does it make you feel? And skewing the truth, like with the whole National Guard thing, I haven't got to the bottom of this, but some people say that the National Guard was there to have a presence because they were fearful of some attack. Fine, great, super, whatever. Other people say there wasn't. So which was it? I guess the FBI said there wasn't going to be an attack and that the other one had been planned in weeks in advance and that Trump was innocent. But people are just ignoring this and onward with the impeachment. The right was reporting that, and this is my side, which I'll even maybe toss them under the bus, but they were reporting that National Guard troops were sleeping in garages, in parking garages and stuff. And then the left was saying that no, they were taking their breaks in garages. They all had hotel rooms and stuff. Fuck me, which was it? I mean, they either were sleeping in parking garages with no hotel rooms, or they had hotel rooms. It's not a debatable fact, dickhead. It either was or wasn't. And just tell the fucking truth. Now, if you want to have an opinion section of your newscast, by all means, I'm completely open to that. Just like the way the newspaper used to be. You reported what actually happened, and then you had, an opinion section, the editorials. Now a newscast is complete editorial garbage passed off as fact. And it's infuriating because half the country's like, oh yeah, I totally believe all that. Fuck Trump, I hate him. Or if you watch Fox News, we're like, yeah, man, I believe all that. Fuck Biden, I hate him. There's not two separate sets of facts, and we've got to nail this down and start calling people out. The only problem is that it's mainstream media and the left versus the right. Because, Fox News did some bonehead shit with Dominion and stuff, and now they have to backtrack everything they've ever said about that company, which, sucks for them. But, they're not as unreliable as CNN and the left, but they're pretty fucking unreliable sometimes. And, oh, yeah. So, speaking of media and crazy stuff like that, don't ask, well, I can tell you guys. I stumbled on this channel called Vice. I don't know if you guys have ever watched it. And the only reason I saw it is because I was flipping through the channels, and I saw Always Sunny in Philadelphia was on. I like that show. I think it's funny. It's something to just, casually watch. But the reruns are on this Vice network. And with that comes, the Vice advertisements for their programming. And holy shit, let me tell you, this is... This is the kind of crazy that I'm talking about that some people believe. So Vice News, I guess, is their nightly newscast. It is the most radical left-wing whack job shit you've ever heard in your life. Just their little puff piece, tonight on Vice News, make sure you watch this. Fucking Trump's trying to murder the world, and Joe Biden's gonna, that's the headline, and people believe it. Black Lives Matter protest. No, they burned down another city. This will go down as one of the best pictures. Is that CNN reporter in the background or in the foreground with the burning shit in the back? And he's like, yeah, this is most. Oh, I have a microphone right here I can fake with. This is mostly peaceful protest with the whole fucking world burning down behind him. That's the kind of shit I'm talking about. And if you're so dumb to watch that, I'm like, oh yeah, man, peaceful. That's not. They're burning. It's right there in front of you. So yeah, there's news programs like that, and then they advertise their documentaries. And there's one on QAnon that they were advertising, and just luckily, after Always Sunny ended, this QAnon thing was on. So I had 30 minutes to kill, I think, before the Avs game or something like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll watch it and see what happens. Wow. The two people making this, again, are two of the most radical left-wing whack jobs you've ever met. One of them openly admitted, she's like, yeah, I worked for the left side of the political government forever, and I fucking hate everybody else, but I'm gonna make a fair documentary. And just the garbage in this stuff. I don't think they said, again, I didn't watch all of it. It's a 3-part series. I couldn't stomach all 3 hours of it. I promise you, it wouldn't have been able. I couldn't have done it. But it starts off with a little thing about QAnon, it's Q's the guy and blah blah blah, and he posts things and people respond, and Donald Trump knows the code, and as soon as he posts something, 5 milliseconds later, Trump did it or whatever. Just complete conspiracy theory whack job shit. And again, they didn't say this out loud, but I think they were going for this is a Templar Mason kind of thing. These guys control the world secretly behind the scenes with, and get this, children as a monetary commodity. That's their form of money is children. And I don't know if they were going for the pornography aspect of it, child porn, because they had a picture of Epstein, but he was a lefty. I mean, him and Bill Clinton were like that. Yeah, Trump was on there sometimes, but I don't think Trump ever went to the island like Clinton did. He sure as hell wasn't on a plane with these people. Children's blood, some adrenal medicine that they take out of the blood and drink or use. I mean, seriously crazy fucking shit that someone's watching and be like, oh yeah, goddamn, the right is fucking crazy. They're QAnon people who are drinking babies' blood and selling kids. They had this one guy on there who, he makes QAnon music, or the way he got started, though, is he was a hardcore Bernie supporter, and I'm paraphrasing here, but this is pretty damn close. A hardcore Bernie supporter, and then the Dems screwed Bernie and put Hillary up for the nomination, and his next logical step was to become a Trump supporter. Now, think about that. Nowhere on this planet would anybody be like, yeah, burn, baby, burn, I'm for Bernie. And when Bernie gets hosed, be like, oh. You know who the next best politician I can relate to is? Donald Trump. That's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard of in my life. The jump from Bernie to Donald is so insanely large and illogical and fucking crazy that no one's gonna believe that. And this is what they were trying to peddle, this garbage that, this crazy friend of theirs was a Bernie guy, and then once the Bernie guy got burned, he was like, oh yeah, Trump's the most logical next step. His views align with mine. I was a Bernie. No, that's fuck that. There's no possible goddamn way that would ever happen. And I will step back. If you were a Bernie supporter and you are now a Trump guy, hell, if you were a wacko Democrat, and I don't mean a Democrat like a Kennedy one, like my buddy Kyle or anything, but one of the crazy ones like AOC, and now you're on Trump's wagon, call me. I would love to talk to you, because I don't think it's a thing. There's no way you can make that jump. That'd be like saying, all right, I do not believe in Mars. I don't think Mars is a real planet, but I think Jupiter is. And it's full of space aliens, and the sun is actually a flying pig that revolves around Jupiter, who ate us one day and burped us out, but Mars isn't real. That's that kind of crazy that you would have to be to go from Bernie to Trump. It's just fundamental differences. There's no goddamn way. So that's kind of the way that they portrayed this. And then I think the ads were on and I had to turn it off. But it was nuts. It was crazy shit. And I'm sure a lot of people watch that and be like, oh yeah, QAnon. They're trying to take over the world. I gotta vote for Biden. And they do it. It is shocking to me how stupid people are these days. And the shit that they buy into. Let's see. What else do we have here that's not going to make me want to rip my fucking face off? This, if you've listened to the previous podcasts, I think the first one with Kyle and I, which I apologize, the Anchor version of it, it didn't record Kyle, but you can go on YouTube and it has Kyle. But we were talking about how, all these dictator governors are just like locking the places down and fuck them all and blah, blah, blah. Well, son of a bitch, all of a sudden, the lockdowns are lifted by some miracle of Aladdin or Genie, I don't know. And then the next one, last podcast, we were talking about how the video game industry is shit and there's no good games and it's dying and blah, blah, blah. And GameStop, which is, if you guys don't know, is like a video game thing, store. They have consoles, they have games, blah, blah, blah. They have like the luckiest day of their life. So this is Kyle's suggestion, not mine. I'm going to predict other things come true. But Kyle and I are predicting, and this is more Kyle than me, but that Playboy Playmates are going to start giving blowjobs out for free. And, hey man, with any luck in our track record next week, get me some sugar. I would vote for other things. I'd predict other things. But it's kind of funny how this has changed. And the drastic turn, how, Biden's elected and sworn in, and now it's safe to go outside again. I mean, Emperor Newsom is reopening the state. And as California's numbers are skyrocketing to the fucking roof, it's time to reopen. It probably has something to do with his recall or being sued or Biden's inauguration, or he's just a dumb fuck. But wouldn't that be the most California thing in the world? I think they're like 100,000 signatures short and they got to be in by March or something. But if they actually do get the recall, and he actually wins his own recall election, that would be the most California nonsense I've ever heard of. No. Yeah, that's one of them. But the other one, and this is back to the whole difference of facts. I get my news from one place, you get your news from another. Kyle texted me today. He's like, dude, can you believe what Emperor Newsom wants to do now? He wants to pass a law or make something that if you leave California, you have to pay income tax to California for the next 10 years after you've already left. And I try not to make everything political with Blip, but everything's just so political these days. It literally has its hand in fucking everywhere. But part of me is like, no shit. I've known about this for a year, months. This is how crazy your state is. How are you just now hearing about this? I mean, this has been talked about in California forever. At least a year or two. And he lives in California, we know. He's just now hearing about it because today was the day CNN decided to, they had nothing else to do, so they were going to talk about it. But it's the Hunter Biden thing. It comes out after the fact. Joe Biden's a crazy old man who I really do feel bad for him. He has no fucking idea what's going on. But, we just gotta hide it to get rid of Trump. And then I've known about Biden being a crazy old fuck forever. And everybody else is just finding out about it like, oh, this is actually not great. No, it's not great. But it was so important to get Trump out that you would do anything. And you stupidly went along with it. Hey, here's something non-political. Have you guys ever been on a virtual date? There's a commercial for, I think it's Match. And they show all these people on virtual dates, like sharing wine together. How? Are you that afraid of fucking COVID? first of all, I can never understand the logic. The crazy I get. But a virtual date? Like, I understand maybe one or two, or I don't know. No! I'll call you and let's meet and go have a drink. I'd like to meet you in person. The problem is you get a lot of those heads up photos. I mean, guys, you know what that is. You ought to be real concerned if you've only seen from here up. Not all the time, but you know what I mean. It's just, we're changing everything for a lie. And the lie is over now because Trump's out. But would you do, let's say, your first 5 dates via video? I mean, your whole third date fucking thing is screwed because I don't know how you're going to fuck via video. I don't know, there's some college out there that wants you to, like, masturbate. That's right, folks. Wear a mat. I'll find it. You can find it, too. You Google this shit. I'm not prepared enough for this stuff, but they have a guidelines for safe sex during COVID. Masturbate. You guys can mutually masturbate with your mask on. I don't know if you guys are masturbating each other with masks on or just facing each other and masturbating or whatever. They also say you should have sex with your mask on. I mean, if she's a hooker, you don't kiss hookers, but if you're dating someone, you should probably kiss them, and that'd be real weird with a fucking mask on. This is insane what we're doing. And the half of you don't think it is. And that's what fucking baffles me. I just don't get it. I don't understand how I look at one thing and like, that's fucking crazy. And someone else looks at the exact same thing and like, oh, that makes total goddamn sense. I mean, we all agree that a serial killer is a crazy person. Nobody looks at a serial killer and be like, oh, it's not that bad. I mean, he had his reasons. No, we see people, some dude goes out and kills 10 people. We collectively are like, yeah, that's really bad. That's stupid. Okay? We see somebody drive their car headfirst into a brick wall. We're like, yeah, that's dumb. I mean, that's a really stupid thing to do. But we watch our government drive us and our cars into a brick wall, and half of us are like, that's fucking stupid. The other half are like, well, I mean, they do know what's best for me. And I don't understand how there are two completely different. I mean, this isn't even propaganda at this point. This is just insanity. I am not going to wear a mask while I masturbate. And I'm sure as fuck not going to wear one while I'm having sex. Unless it's like a fetish thing. You have one of those. That we can get it. Well, actually, we might have got to that in the last podcast. But it's just insanity to me. So then, we circle back to these virtual dates. You gotta feel stupid cooking dinner by yourself and while she's in the other across town cooking the same. Do you cook the same dinner? Or is it like a restaurant and you cook like what you want that night and she wants that night? What if she wants a salad and her dinner's done in 5 minutes and you'd like beef Wellington 3 hours later? I mean, do you film the whole date like that? Also, they both seem to have the same white wine glasses. Just saying. Maybe they're in the same apartment, different rooms. I don't know. I can't imagine a virtual date. Now, I mean, I guess you could FaceTime your wife or girlfriend if you're like overseas or something, but to get to know someone virtually, to me, seems fucking insane. Actually, I guess people have done that for a long time. They've had like these internet relationships, and then it turns out that, Maggie Sue is not Maggie Sue. She's Billy Bob. But I gave us this video. No, still, fuck that. Quit being a little bitch. Stop being afraid. Go out. Have a drink with that person. Look them in the face and say, hey, I like you. I do not like you. I want to kiss you. Let me take off my mask. Take off your mask and kiss him. But then go get like 17 COVID tests and wear 7 masks for the next 14 days. Jeez, man. It's too much. Can't do it anymore, folks. I'm losing my mind. So, that will bring us to this week's stupid tweets. And this one, I'm not going to say their names now because I don't know if I can or should or how that works. I think if you post on the internet, I should be able to call you out like an idiot. But I won't now, because this person's... maybe. I'll just say their name. You can go find them. So, plugs. Joe Biden tweets out that... This is what he tweeted. Today, I issued a presidential memorandum to protect and expand access to reproductive health care. I am fully committed to protecting women's health here, at home, and around the world. Seems nice enough, right? I mean, God forbid we're worried about men's health, but without delay, well, actually maybe with some delay, Elena Rubin, I don't know. I mean, profile picture, yikes. Swampy, yeah. Whatever. Her response is, "Hi, President Biden. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm wondering if you could adjust your wording from, quote, women's health care to, quote, health care for people who get pregnant and bleed. Are you out of your goddamn mind?" All right, so wait, it's not over. Yeah, blah, 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 pregnant and bleed, end quote. I am a, parentheses, trans woman, but don't need these services. Thank you for your work. So let's, how batshit crazy is that? Is there any woman here that instead of being called a woman, you'd like to be called, let's see, person who gets pregnant and bleeds? Now, let me just point out the hypocrisy in all of this. She doesn't want it to be called women's health care. Essentially, she wants to replace women's, any form. But yet, she is a trans woman. Shouldn't she be a trans person who gets pregnant and bleeds, but actually doesn't? I mean, you're not a trans woman, you're a trans person who gets pregnant and bleeds. Just like it's person who gets pregnant and bleeds healthcare. Do you understand the crazy in this? First of all, the label, what are you going to start calling guys? Guy who gets drunk and punches? Oh, damn it. If I was more on top of this and not drinking so much, I could have nailed that. But like, person who gets drunk and swings at person who gets pregnant and bleeds? What the fuck? I mean, is that what I'm going to be denoted as? And that's the Jeopardy sucks, and this all kind of ties together. Today on Jeopardy, there was some guy who had shit me enough. He has a podcast too where he and his friends, I'm assuming are men, get together and talk about toxic masculinity. What about toxic feminism? What about these crazy women, persons who get pregnant and bleed on the old interwebs that are doing this social crusade to change the name of women to persons who get pregnant and bleed? That's not toxic femininity. I mean, that's just fucking crazy. And then inside your own craziness, you can't even get your words together or right. I'd be like me saying, hey man, I super appreciate you calling me a guy, but I'd rather you call me a pinata who skips across a field. Me, being a guy, I wish you would have a little more sensitivity. No, stupid! You're no longer a guy. You're that pinata unicorn skipping across a field. It's just that. There you go. That sums up where we are today. And I hope you're as sad as I am. I mean, it's entertaining, but we have got to just turn down the fucking crazy and get back to the old normal. Fuck the new normal. I don't want to do that either. But hey, thanks for listening today, guys. Please go to the Twitter at Dutch the Beast, at Dutch in Denver, in just the letter, no I. YouTube Dutch in Denver, Anchor Dutch in Denver, iTunes Dutch in Denver, Spotify, everywhere is Dutch in Denver. It's pretty much all Dutch in Denver. And every single place it is spelled Dutch, I-N, Denver, except on the Twitter where it's Dutch in Denver. I super appreciate you guys listening. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, do all that stuff for me. I very much appreciate it. Bye.